Hello there folks, I'm RJB from RJBTV, and today I decided to do a replay with two lesser known players. One of these two players, I actually don't even know who it is. So, we've got QREWRE here on the Zerg. And we've got Kimki-san, who is honestly one of my favorite players. Because I think Kimki-san is really underrated. I've seen some really insanely good games with Kimki-san, who's here on the Terran. I haven't mentioned there was a Terran yet. But Kimki-san is really good at fastest map. But I think Kimki-san is a team player. 2v2, 3v3. But what I've seen so far, insanely good at 1 versus 1 as well. And because I don't know who QREWRE is, I cannot really say too much about how good QREWRE is, because I simply don't have the information, I simply don't know. But I assume that this player is pretty strong. So yeah, what am I going to do today? Today I'm going to cast a couple of random replays and just see if they're good. There's a couple of people we've never seen before, except for Kimki-san. We've seen Kimki-san before. But like, just gonna cast a couple of replays with people that I, haven't seen before. Just random names. Just what do these people on the Korean server do? Like, I have a lot of replays where people like Rabbit or JH or Lee Bok-gu or Ryan Teacher or Ameba City are observing a game, or Burger Sasu is observing a game or hosting an event, and there's random participants who we, outside of Korea, have no idea of who they are, but who might be a little bit more well-known in Korea. There's just so many really good players in Korea that it's hard to keep track of who is good and who they are unless you're actually playing in Korea and can read Korean. So yeah, he finds a choke here. Went for a double barrack rush. Fine, he keeps on interrupting that drone. QRWE, or QRE, let's just call him Q. Q doesn't quite know what to do here, although he does get both those creep colonies operational. Kimki-san didn't start building, let's call him Kim, a little bit easier. Kim didn't start building a bunker here in the front, but the Marines are coming and they are on the way, fighting against a couple of Zerglings. There's only 4 Zerglings are on the scene, but those 4 Zerglings should be enough to ensure that the Sunkens are gonna finish here in the front. So Kim tried to rush, but the rush didn't quite work because he sent his SCV to the wrong locations before sending it to the correct location. And he's going for what I consider to be a more Western strategy, and that is building a factory here right on the middle. It's pretty close to Q's choke, who is already morphing a lair. This is a very early lair. It's got 12 drones in total. Kim is looking for the Zerglings because he saw the Zerglings leave, so he knows the Zerglings are at some point going to arrive in this general vicinity, and then he's going to kill the Zergling to make sure that Q is not going to see inside Kim's base. So Kim getting a second refinery. He's not getting a command center. He just wants to push with tanks very fast, very early. And Q somewhat knows something is up in terms of aggression. So he's getting a couple more Sunkens in the front. Lair in the back almost finished up. I feel like this guy might go for Mutalisks. Because if he was to go for Lurkers, he would have already built the Hylisk Den at about the halfway point of the lair morphing, so that the den would finish right at about the same time as the lair, and he would be able to get Lurker aspect upgrade, which he isn't getting. So it's gotta be Mutalisks, and there's a Spire on the way. I'm 20 drones now, getting a second gas, might even get a third gas. Whereas Kim here on the middle, he's got a starport now on the way. Machine shop is being added on to the factory. He is still only on 2 barracks. He's playing this on a really fast, advanced technology here. Goes in with the Marines, but the Marines are forced to retreat because there's 4 Sunkens And with only 2 medics and about 12 marines and 2 fire bats, you're not going to be able to break through that sunken wall. So he turns around, goes back into the middle, where there's now a control tower being added on. He is not yet getting siege mode or siege tank, which of course leads me to believe he's going to go for a dropship and try to just unload all over those drones that are in the back. But we have a sunken colony on the way there for Q in the back, so he probably feels that something funky is up. The dropship is on the way, marine range on the way as well, and we are now getting a bunker in the front and an engineering bay here back at home, and 2 more barracks is being added on. He's on triple gas, 24 SCVs against 24 drones. Both players really liking playing on small economies. Kim sends both of his marines to the sides. He's going to scout and make sure there's no overlords hanging on the sides, although he cannot see up onto the high ground here. So he can see if there's overlords there. He's just making sure that there's no overlords hanging beyond the hill. That's more or less the point. But 8 Muliks on the way. So now it's going to be a question about whether Q has some really good Mulisk micro or whether he does not. I mean, usually when someone goes for Mulisk like this, their Mulisk micro is pretty good. He's getting a level 1 Carapace for the Mulisks. 2 more Mulisks are morphing. He's getting an Evo Chamber and a Hylisk down here in the back, and a 4th Hatchery. And instead of going for the middle, he goes straight for the backstab attack, right where it counts the economy. But he sees the bunker and the turret, and the bunker itself is actually empty, but he doesn't know, so he doesn't want to take the risk of entering the bunker zone. But now here inside of Q's base, the firebat's going to unload. They're right on top of the drones. The drones are running away to safety though. Kim does not unload. He's kind of just toying with him. But when the Muliks do arrive, oh, goes for the drones, and bam, boom, bam, boom, bam. Kills about 13 of those drones. He's going to try to kill more. Dropship still alive, flying away. Only lost a little bit of health. He's going to unload those fire bats here on the middle. And here inside of Kim's base, the Mulisks have done a little bit of damage. They've killed 1 barracks, so something has happened. Now Marines are coming from the back there and sniping more Mulisks down. So now he's from 8 down to 6. He's got 3 more here in the base for a total of 9. He can one-shot 2 Marines at a time if he wants to. We're in the middle. He finds the factory though, and there's nothing here to protect it except 1 bunker with 1 or 2 Marines inside. He's going to take down the bunker, and then he's going to start attacking the starport, the factory, and the science facility. But it looks like Kim is already going for another cheeky strategy. 1 distraction dropship and 1 real dropship, or are they both fake? He's kind of just oh, it's a tank. He's going for the switch up, mix up, shoots on the drones. Now the firebat's coming from the other direction. Oh my god, this is beautiful stuff. This is beautiful stuff. I mean, he didn't get as many drones as he could have gotten. But, well, he got about, I think, 5 or maybe 4. What matters, though, is Q is down to 21, and he has been taking some damage. So that's set up from Kim. I've never seen that done before by anyone. A tank into firebat, cheesy drop strategy. It's really a mind game. And he's making it look like it's just a fake out. So that was really interesting. But now Marines coming from the main base, going into the middle. He's planning on hunting down them Mulisks and mowing them all down. Got a factory there on the way back at home, and a couple more barracks being constructed. Gonna try to save the starport here on the middle. It's still alive. Oh, beyond half HP, so it's in a fine state. The micro here is pretty good from Q. He's now back on 30 drones against 33 SCVs. Another dropship they're leaving. Going across, gonna try to hit those drones 1 more time. He's using the hill really well to make sure the Marines cannot easily return fire on the Mulisks. Now we've got the dropship there arriving on the scene. His Hylisk is there as well. Tries to load the firebat. Firebats are shooting on the sunken and the drones. The drones do go down. So he gets all the drones while Q is distracted with Mulisk Micro. Now down to 10 drones. Again, Kim is just absolutely destroying his workers, destroying his economy, and making sure he's going to go into a recession because, damn, he cannot keep up with the demands of modern society. He's just absolutely getting torn from side to side, limb from limb. Starport now, though, is, well, it's burning, but it's not gonna die. I think it's not gonna die. Q might just try to go for an all-in attack with Mulelisk, Zergling, and Hydralisk instead of going for advanced technology. He's gonna go for it right now, but Kim has so many barracks, so many marines. He should or might be fine, although maybe I spoke out of turn, because the marines there are doing some pretty big damage there on the Mulelisks. Most of the Mulelisks and the Hydralisk all do go down. There's 4 Mulelisks still in the air. He's now back on 17 drones against 36 SCVs. Kim is really putting the pressure up on him. And Kim has shown some pretty interesting stuff. He tried to end it with the very first dropship attempt, then end it with the second one, and he was hoping that Q would just leave after he killed his drones for a third time, but Q is not giving up. So Kim has to put the pedal to the metal and really just step on the gas and start accelerating the game pace and finish Q off once and for all. Q still on 17 drones, mostly making Mulelisks. He's low on minerals, not really low on gas, has no Queen's Nest, has no Hive, so he cannot really progress into advanced technology, which he kind of does need. He wants to kind of, stay in the game, because now we've got another dropship there on the way. 4 Hydralisks there in the back to defend, and a Sunken as well. Drones are running away to safety, losing minerals already, and he unloads the Fire Bats on the other side, and he kills one. Just one. But there's a little surprise. No! There was one more Fire Bat inside the dropship, but the dropship goes down before it can really do too much. As the Valkyrie flying from the middle to the base, but it gets sniped because Kim rally pointed it and wasn't paying attention. Loses a tank there as well. Q is doing a really good job here in keeping Kim contained within his base, although now double Valkyrie there in the air. Mules are taking critical amounts of damage. They do escape there though. I think 2 of them went down, so 8 of them are still alive. He still has some fight left in him. Starport on the middle is, well, I said it's burning before, but I guess it can burn in this state forever and ever. I'm not entirely sure on the burn mechanics. So the Hydra's forced to retreat. Valkyries in the air giving overwatch. Marines and medics there protecting the tanks. So it's kind of a symbiotic relationship. Valkyries protect the Marines, Marines protect the tanks, and the tanks protect the Valkyries. Or so I assume. He hasn't really made any drones for a while. He's just prolonging the inevitable. And Kim now definitively says, let's just go for it. Let's just end the game. Well, he tries to end the game, but Q is not gonna give up so easily. He's not gonna go steady into the darkness, into the cold night, to the dark night. Not quite sure what the saying is, so I'm not gonna try to say it. But Kim now, on 120 supply, double the supply of Q, marches through the front door. That hatchery just buying a little bit of time, delaying the eventual demise of Q. Although Q has got a pretty good Hydralisk arm with Mulelisk there. Tries to go for the counter-attack. Is the counter-attack gonna work? The Marines are pretty damn strong. Valkyries in the air are destroying the Mulelisks. Mulelisks are all dead and gone. No, the tanks are just there to kill the remaining Hydralisks that are straggling there on the ground, waiting for their end. And yes, it does end. It does end. It's over. Soon. Q just doesn't want to call GG. He just doesn't want to give up. He just does not want to give up. I mean, the game has been over for, I'd say, about 5 minutes. Yeah, maybe about 5 minutes. But Q keeps on believing. He does not want to give Kim a victory. But Kim has earned it. With some, I'd say, kind of tricky plays. I'd say that's what really identifies Kim. He's a very tricky player. He tries to trick you with mind games pretty much all the time. And if it doesn't work, well, it kind of backfires. But if it works, you get a game like this where he's slowly progressing after successfully hitting the mind game strategy, hit on your economy or whatever else he's aiming for. But he's just playing it out safe. No need to rush. No need to end it quick. Drones, ooh, killed 10 of them, 5 are still alive. Tank number 2 goes down as well. Now everything here in the front, in the choke, is going to progress forward because he's definitively satisfied with what he's achieved. And now it's time to end it all once and for all. And Q doesn't call GG, but does leave the game. And that's game number 1 of today over. Let's look for a game number 2. See if I got something else that's interesting to watch lying about in my database. Well, in fact, I do. I got some pretty interesting stuff lying about here. I got some pretty interesting stuff lying around. So let me just, yeah, let's just go for this replay. Also, I probably need a drink because I just realized I don't have a glass of water lying about right next to me. So I'm just gonna pause real quick. I'll be right back. Please sit hang tight. It's only gonna be about a second. And surprise, I'm back. So let's go into the second game of tonight, of today, of this morning or this afternoon. It kind of depends on where you're watching from. Okay, we've got a person called Like First Time here on the bottom left of the map, the Teal Zerg, and hopefully this guy is gonna give us something entertaining to watch and commentate, something to enjoy, a treat, a real dessert a la magnifique. And here on the top corner, the top left corner, got a person going by the name 512. Oh my god. Let's try it again. 5102060. We're gonna call him 5. 5 starts out with a supply depot. Now, usually, I get this feeling that when players know they're playing Terran against Zerg, they're gonna go for a supply depot first, and in this case, it looks like 5 is gonna go for a command center after a supply depot, because he's not building a barracks yet, and if he was going for a barracks, he would have already started it at either 8 supply or 9 supply. Wait, is he gonna go for a barracks? He's gonna go for a barracks, and he's gonna go for 2 at the same time. Not optimal, but I guess this gives you a little bit more minerals in the bank. Just a little bit more. But usually we see supply depot at 8 or at 9, and a barracks at 8 or at 9 supply. Rarely do we ever see 10 supply double barracks. Refinery also on the way. Let's hop across the map and look at our Zerg, like first time. Like has a hatchery in the front, of course. It's gonna go for a choke bolt order, hatchery in the back. Everything is kind of looking standard. What usually signifies deviation, like I like using these fancy words, but usually signifies deviation from orthodox strategic choices is when do these guys gas and when do they get their lair. And then of course it becomes a question of, are they going to go for a spire? Let me just do it /D&D so I no longer get friend notifications and whispers and messages from people on my friend list. So a sunken in the front. 5 is scouting the map with 2 SCVs. Marines are finally spotting her in the back. He's getting a very early factory as well. So 2 games in a row, we get double barracks factory, which is not very common at all. And if this guy goes for a starport, I'll be damned, because we almost also never ever see anyone go for factory, starport, dropship, cheesy moves. We don't often see it. But if we're gonna see it 2 games in a row, I'll be damned, because we're seeing something rare. So he's staying on 1 sunken in the front because he hasn't found his opponent yet, and his opponent has found him, though. I think the SCV walked in here earlier. But he's staying on 1 single sunken, now adding on a second one. He's kind of cutting corners. He's not expecting 5 to go for an early rush. And that is why he's only going for 3 Sunkens now. Like, this is pretty late for a second and third Sunken. Usually it comes out earlier. So he finds the Marines are in the front. So Like doesn't get information of what's happening inside this base station. And I thought it was going to be a fast starport, but it's going to be a fast tank and most likely fast siege mode, although siege mode is not yet on the way. Whereas we have a Mutalisk Spire on the way for Mutalisks from Like First Time. He's also getting Zerglings. And he's getting Zergling speed. And 5 is going to try to do some cheesy moves. Like, he's not going to go for the dropship cheese, he's going to go for the firebat cheese by building a barracks here, floating it across the hill and just running a firebat straight into those drones. And hopefully stim them to death like Kim did in the previous game. That's kind of what he's got on mind. But an Overlord is going to find that barracks, and I think the Mutalisks should soon be on the way. I think he should be able to protect this and defend this with just those Zerglings, as long as he doesn't make a big mistake. But he knows it's happening, and he might just put the Zergling underneath the barracks to prevent it from landing. There's a couple of different options you've got. He's moving his Zerglings to the front to avoid them from being seen by the barracks. It's actually, Like First Time, is pretty smart. His APM might not be high, but he's pretty smart. Hasn't really revealed his plans yet, although Greater Spire, Queen's Nest, that does somewhat give away what he's planning on doing. But now, just by pure chance, which is a little bit unlucky for Like First Time, he runs right into the Marines, moving across the map, going for the attack. And the Zerglings do lose the fight. And that lost fight does give 5 some crucial information. And that information being that Like spent a lot of minerals on Zerglings that did not achieve anything at all, which means he's going to have a smaller choke, which means he's going to have less drones, which also means he could have had more Mutalisks, more minerals, more gas, more whatever, except Zerglings. So they just kind of give away some information. Like First Time, going for the Mutalisk micro there, using the hill. Well, he's not going onto the hill because the Marines are a little bit too far away from the hill. But he's still trying to micro and kill some Marines, but not all the shots taken by the Mutas were killing Marines, which means not all of them were firing at the same time. But he's trying his best, goes in for the attack. Once again, Zerglings on top of the Marines. Killed the Sunken. The Mutalisk are on top. There's some Marines beneath the barracks, but I can't see them. It looks like the Marines have all died. It looks like the Marines have all gone and died, which now means that we've got the Mutalisks there on the chase, pushing the tanks back. Oh boy, this is why a 2 barracks Marine production isn't that strong. So he's now going for 2 more barracks. They've finished up, going for a 5th one. And there's no starport yet, which he might end up needing because we got a hive on the way. We have a Hyalisk Den. We've got a Defiler Mount and an Evo Chamber also on the way. So 5 might need a starport and a vessel. He might need more tanks, he might need more workers, because he only has 27 workers. He hasn't really been producing SUVs from his 2nd command center, even though he built it pretty early. Just hasn't been building anything from it at all. So not the most solid worker production from 5, but 5 is doing, I'd say he's doing fine for now, but he's going to be running into some pretty difficult times when he sees the lurkers there behind the hatchery. He's going to run in. He's not going to run in. He's going to try to kill the Mutalisks, and time is being bought for the lurkers to morph, and the lurkers are very close to finishing up, although he's moving right into... He's got to stand on top of the lurkers and hopefully kill all the lurkers before they burrow up. He kills one. Ooh, a large batch of Marines just went down, but now the Marines are pretty well spread out, so the lurkers do go down. All he has to do is keep on sending Marines across the map before, like First Time, has too many Mutalisks to defend with. Although it is only 2 Mutas, he's in pretty big... Like First Time is in pretty dangerous waters. He's in a pretty dangerous situation. We have lurkers morphing in the back. I think 5 still has some scan energy. Got Marines coming from across the map. The Marines right here, though, are going to get pushed away for now. He retreats just in time. 5 is playing pretty solid, even though he doesn't have a starport. I said earlier he really needs a starport, but it turns out he does not need a starport. He is completely fine. I thought he would really need one, but oh wait, we have a Defiler there. The Defiler doesn't have Consume yet, so he can throw down a Dark Swarm, but the Lurkers are sealing up the vicinity, forcing the Marines and the tanks to retreat a little bit further away. And now 5 really could have used a vessel to detect those Lurkers. Because now the Marines are kind of just killing themselves, walking into Lurker spines and getting erased from existence entirely. So 5 making a couple of mistakes with his build order. His control as well. Great Dark Swarm there from Like. These tanks and Marines are going to die, and looks like 5 isn't even going to try to... He is going to try to save them, but perhaps a little bit too... He keeps one tank alive. So one tank got saved. Some can be made there in the front before the creep disappears, but 5 takes it down really fast. You got more hatcheries on the way there from a Like first time there on the bottom side. Marines are going to clear out some overlords on the sides. 5 is playing pretty well, but also not playing pretty well. I mean, he's being very proactive, but I think he is not doing the best strategy at the moment. So he's got triple command center, but he has 39 SCVs, which kind of indicates he's not really been making SCVs from every single command center for the entire game. He's got 5 barracks though. He's now getting a lot more factories and starports, so he's getting his macro back in order. He's getting things back on the road. He's getting double armory there as well for Goliaths, and of course for Valkyries, and of course for tank upgrades. He's got a Radiate on the way, and a vessel is in production as well. Finally, we're gonna see a vessel from 5. And I really think if 5 had a vessel earlier into the game, he probably could have pushed Like to his early and untimely demise here in this 1v1 Zerg against Terran fight on the fastest maps. So he's got the front more or less protected. He's got the Defiler there in the back. He's gonna keep throwing down Dark Swarms there on top of the Lurkers to keep 5 out. Now 5 has to come up with a way of getting into Like's base and hurting him, because it's very unlikely that Like is gonna make any big mistakes with his Dark Swarm timing. And the Dark Swarm should be active pretty much non-stop, and the Lurkers below should be pretty much protected at all times. I don't think Like is going to make a big mistake. 5 now is aiming to secure the perimeter around Like's base. He's got turrets under construction, Marines clearing out Overlords and Zerglings that are getting information and providing a vision of the map. We've got some Guardians in the back there for Like. He's an 86 supply against 103 supply from 5. He's mining from 5 gas. And I think this is about the time where Like is going to start exploding with his economy, although he's not really focused on building drones. I think this is a great time for Like to build drones, but he's probably expecting some aggression from 5. But 5 is more or less doing the same thing as what Like is doing. He's just growing bigger, building a base, growing a bigger army, and securing the map to a certain degree. Also kind of funny, he put those Marines on patrol, put them on patrol mode here on the side. Don't really see a lot of players putting units on patrol like this. I think it's kind of a cute detail. Is it really gonna do much? I don't know, but it's cute. That's for sure, it's cute. Zergling's moving out just to kill the one tank and gather some information on, is there anything on the middle? Is there nothing on the middle? What are my options? What are my choices? What am I going to do next? Zergling's distracting. Lurker's moving forward. There's tanks sieged up. He's getting close to the tanks there though. And he throws down a Dark Swarm, and now everything is getting attacked. The Zerglings are pretty well protected. Firebats can go in, but he decides not to go in for the Firebats, and I do think the Firebats could kill some of those Lurkers, although it's 4 Lurkers, that might be too much. So, gonna get a double radiate down on 2 of them lurkers. Scourge is coming out to kill the vessels. 5 responds to it pretty well, but still loses 1 of the 2. So let's see what Like is doing. He's got 6 hatcheries, getting more technology buildings as well. He's not really focused on getting more drones. He has gotten a couple more drones because earlier he was on 38, now he's on 45. I really think he is in a position where he can just drone up to 70 in one stretch and just explode economically really quick. But he wants to do it slowly. He wants to get a little bit of everything all at the same time. And for now, it's working. Although the raids there do get the better of a couple of Guardians that are trying to clear out turrets on the sides. Lurkers in the front, not protected by a Dark Swarm because there's simply no tanks pushing in on them. And 5 here back at home is still building a base, still growing his army. Went for a lot more barracks than before. So we got triple starport for vessels, we got triple factory. Not a whole lot of buildings here, and something leads me to believe that 5 might actually be a normal map player and not so much a fastest map player. Whereas with Like, I get the feeling he is specifically a fastest map player and not at all a normal map player. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from these two players. You can kind of see it in their playstyles. Like is doing very specific fastest map strategies, whereas 5 is more so doing improvisation. I'd say this is more so improvisation from 5. Instead of very specific fastest map strategies that we've seen being used over the past couple of years where I've been casting. So he's setting up a tank circle, a half a circle, well, a quarter circle. It's a quarter of a circle. Gonna siege them up soon. The replay might be broken, but I don't think it is. But it might be. But I just don't think it is, because I am seeing some very specific movements here happening from Like. But 5 seems a little bit passive at the moment. Radiating on the workers in the front. Tanks are in the choke point, not yet sieged up. On the sides, they are sieged up. Units keep coming from across the map. We've got a lot of SCVs just standing about here inside of his base, getting another starport. And these units are just standing here. And I really get the feeling that I have to... Now he's moving them though. He's controlling them. Like sometimes you just don't really know are the players just taking it slow? Or is the replay corrupted and broken? Like, he hasn't really done much here at home at all. Hasn't really produced anything at all. Guardian's going for the attack. The Vars are... Okay, this replay is broken. It's definitely broken. This is broken. So let me rewind up until this point. And see if anything different happens. Or not. It's more of the same. It's more of the same. A larva not really being used. We have nothing in production here. So let's just go to the end of the game. Let's just go to the end of the game. Let's just go to the end. Now let's rewind first. So let's rewind. And then we're gonna wind forward. Jump into the future with me, my friends. And just see what's happening. Yeah, things do seem to no longer be corrupted. He's building spores on the top side, focusing on distributing scorches over the sides. We got raids flying back and forth there for 5, but his units are kind of standing there in the front of his base. He's got 48 SCVs, hasn't really built any additional gas in a while. He's repairing his vessels. He's waiting for Like to move out, but Like is planning on just growing a little bit more turtly over time. He's getting more drones, finally on 58, 59. You got scans coming down there from 5. I just really think the replay is corrupted. He's moving out though, he's moving out. And we have 5 here on the middle. Did I call it too soon? Did I call it too soon? Should I have had more faith in these two players? So putting some radiates on the Devourers. Going for the Devourers there with the Raids, but the Raids are pretty much toast against the Devourers. The Devourers just completely crap and shit on them. The units come from behind. This is a great surround there from like. This is really nice. This makes for a great thumbnail. This is beautiful. Surround from every single direction gets on top of all of the tanks. The tanks, they're getting completely destroyed by the Ultalisk. A little bit slowly, but for sure they are completely destroying them with this beautifully combined mixture of an army. We have every single Zerg unit in here. We got the Fighters, Hydralisk, Guardians, Devourers, Ultalisk, Zerglings, Scorches, and whatever else. Yeah, pretty much everything there is except Queens. Everything except Queens here on the scene for like first time against 5, who's trying to defend, but is not going to be able to defend because he's getting completely swarmed by Zergling units in every single combination you can possibly imagine. He's crawling forward, Zerglings on top of the tanks. He's going to call GG very, very soon, and Light is going to win this Zerg against Terran. So I guess the replay somehow did somewhat uncorrupt, or maybe Like was just playing it slow and relaxed. I just don't know. I just know the ending looked pretty sweet. And that's gonna be it for today. I'm not quite sure what to think of this last replay. This replay had me feeling a little bit mixed because of the corruption of the replay thing happening. But at least we got a nice satisfying ending to it. Like most of the time, you don't even get to see how it ends. And this time around, we got to see how it ends with a pretty satisfying attack and a fight on the middle, which then led to a push across the map and a kill on 5102-060. 5102-060. So yeah, hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And I hope to see you return in the future when I am going to bring you some bigger names that are more well known, like Minchel, Brain, 458, Gensei, that's Minchel, Burger Sasu, the Romy Buell. I'm going to go back to the bigger names. Just wanted to do one video with smaller, lesser known names, giving us some, some of their own fastest experiences, some of their fastest replays to see what they do and what StarCraft most of the times looks like on fastest map when you don't have the absolute maximum top 10 players playing each other.